Hey everybody, this is this month's expert Q&A. I've got a couple of questions this month from some of our students. They were great questions that they had emailed to me. If you have any questions you want me to answer on this, remember it's info@multifamilyinvestingacademy.com. Send over your question. I typically respond right back to you and give you the answer that you're looking for. And then if it's such a great question, I will save it and I will put it on the recording so that way everybody gets to hear it. So, because for those people who are in the Masterclass Elite and you get those live group coaching calls with me, if you don't have the Elite program or if you need to get a hold of me any other time throughout the course of the month, send me an email with a question. I'll typically answer it right away, and then I will, if it's a good one, I'll put it on the video. So, my whole point here is to help you get across that finish line as fast as you possibly can. That's the goal. So if I can do anything I can to help, more power to all of us. All right, first question came from a client out in Washington. Now, this particular client had heard me give my elevator speech, which just so happens to be almost the theme of this month's videos. She had heard me give my elevator speech, and then I said, here's what I say in my elevator speech, but notice what I don't say. And one of the things that I don't say is anything about cap rates. I don't talk about cap rates. And her question is, you mentioned that cap rates are not important. I would like to understand why you feel that way, since a low cap rate and high transaction costs could make a deal not pencil out. Well, here's the thing. I didn't say that cap rates are not important. Cap rates are very important. It's just when I give my elevator speech to a broker, I never mention cap rates. Because the type of property that I'm looking for, the type of property that I'm describing to the broker, it implies a certain cap rate. And if I limit the cap rate discussion when I speak to that broker, there may be some properties that meet my physical criteria but don't meet the cap rate criteria, and therefore he'll never send them to me. So when I'm dealing with my elevator speech with a broker, I never mention cap rate, and that's why. So I'm always looking for a certain type of property. And in a particular marketplace, that criteria will imply a certain cap rate level. And if I end up getting a property sent to me that meets my physical criteria and the cap rate is way out of whack, I will know that there's something wrong with that deal right away. But if I say I'm only looking for this type of cap rate and therefore one is way out of whack, and I'll never even get a chance to see it, and I don't want that to happen. I want to take a look at any property that meets my physical criteria. So that was the answer regarding the question about why I never discuss cap rates in my elevator speech to the brokers. So that's the first question in the expert Q&A. Now let's talk about the next question. This comes from a student. He says, do you have a list that shows everything you look at and look for when purchasing apartments, like a checklist, COs, certificate of occupancies, insurance, payroll, expenses, repairs, etc.? Now, I had a little trouble understanding exactly what he was looking for because that's such a broad checklist. It covers everything. Now just think about it. I have a checklist for the first checklist that goes out when we're looking at a particular deal is what I call the Schedule 1, which appears in the letter of intent. So that is a checklist of all the due diligence material that I want to see when I get that property under contract. And I give that to the seller right away, so that when it comes time for him to turn over all the documents, he can't say, hey, I don't have any of this stuff. It's like, well, for crying out loud, I've been giving it to you since the first time I made an offer. You signed the purchase and sale agreement. You knew what I've been looking for. I'm expecting to get that information right away. And if he doesn't have it, that tends to mean you're not going to have a good deal, or things aren't going to go that smoothly for you. So that is the first checklist. Now, when I do the due diligence, and I have a due diligence seminar weekend coming up, obviously this video goes out all the time, but I do offer a due diligence seminar weekend, which is fantastic because it teaches you all the things you need to know about how to handle the due diligence process. And if you're buying property, you've got to know how that happens. So in the due diligence seminar weekend, I have loads of checklists. I have financial checklists. I have physical inspection checklists. I have unit inspection checklists. Everything has a checklist. Everything has a checklist, because remember, this is not the real estate business. This is the multifamily investing business. It is a business. All businesses need to be run on systems. The most successful businesses are the ones that are run on a systematic basis. So we have systems for every step of the process. Now, what surprised me in my last due diligence seminar was at the very end of the weekend, almost in the last hour, maybe 2 hours of the entire weekend, I pulled out my deal flow checklist. And this is a checklist that I have put together over all the deals that I've done, from the time you analyze the property all the way to the time you close. And it includes things like raising private money, the documents that you need. It takes you from the very beginning all the way to the very end. This is going up on the archive section for the elite members. They will have access to my deal flow checklist. And the reason why I'm saying this kind of surprisingly is because when I presented this in the last due diligence seminar, I was shocked at everybody's eyes wide open and finally getting a vision of what you need to do to buy a property. And I laid it out for them step by step by step. And that's when I realized, wow, this deal checklist is really a pretty good document. I should make this more available. So that's why it is going up to all of the elite members. They will have access to this. It'll teach you so much just by looking at the steps. If you're weak in any particular area, hey, send me an email. Let's talk about it, and let's get it on the next call. So hopefully this expert Q&A has been helpful to you. As I said before, if you have any questions, shoot them on over to the to info@Multifamily Investing Academy. I tend to respond right away to those types of emails. I'll give you the answer, and then if it's a good one, I will put it on this call, and everybody gets to see it. So remember, folks, if you're not making offers, this is nothing more than a very expensive hobby. Make offers. Let me know how I can help, and I'll see you next week. Thanks.